My name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level. Have you ever struggled with wrapping your head around what exactly leadership is? It sounds like this powerful word, this word of, even when I was younger, for example, a young kid, I would think it sounded almost arrogant, like, oh, the leader, right? Follow the leader, this concept. Like, believe it or not, my relationship with the word leadership is actually one of like a paradox. It's paradoxical that I'm a leadership coach, right? And yet, when growing up, I actually thought the word was kind of hokey and weird. And I think that exists because of what leadership has come to mean in different circles for different people. And until we make a connection to it that is more organic, more understood, then we won't really appreciate the word and what it is to be a leader. For example, I feel that and understand that to get on this camera and speak about these topics, all the topics that I speak of, is a type of leadership, right? Whether it's experimenting with nootropics, whether it's talking about friends with benefits, whether it's talking about childhood wounds, psychology, Jordan Peterson's self-authoring, nutrition, movie reviews based upon the Illuminati, etc., etc. I'm exposing my inner thoughts about the world around me as an American citizen, a Texan, you could even say, and how the relationship I have with the world around me affects my goal to be performing at my highest ability. You know, for example, as I am on this camera, there's 1 milligram of nicotine right underneath my tongue. This 1 milligram came from a tip I got from Dave Asprey about using nicotine because of the mitochondrial, metabolic mitochondrial cellular speed or something like that. Metabolic mitochondrial speed that it does to the brain or something like this. Now, I can't repeat it fully, obviously. Basically, it speeds up the processes in the brain. There you go. That's a simple way to put it without getting wordy. And my type of leadership has always been one of implementation, testing, feedback, dialing in. Like, that's been my leadership style. What does a leader do if not push forward in order to acquire resources, land, mindsets, cohesiveness of the tribe, etc., etc. So I'd like to thank you first and foremost for watching these videos and looking to connect with me as I move through life with this attitude of leading the way as much as I can. It's not to say, like, let's say I look at someone like Elon Musk, right? That's a leader that is pretty much in all circles looked upon like a leader of industry, a leader of scientific thought, engineering, pushing the boundary, a game changer, changing the game of cars, things like that, right? So we know leadership when we see it. And in order to develop your own leadership, you may sometimes feel like, I look at Elon Musk on sometimes a weekly basis, a daily basis, and I sometimes have to struggle with my own feelings of like, well, why wasn't I an engineer? I'm giving you kind of like the fight, the internal fight a leader may face. Like, I'm not an engineer. I'm not disrupting industries per se, right? Like, that's not my objective, to create a car that's electric, stuff like that. It'd be great if I thought like that, but I don't. I just don't think like that. That's not my brain. My traction has always been lifting weights, gaining muscle, expanding business, becoming better in my heart, and achieving higher levels of understanding as to where I stood in the world around me, and developing my own understanding as to where I stood within me. So the world around us, as let's say Americans, I was reading listening to Jack Donovan's book, Becoming a Barbarian. He refers to the general environment around you. In America, for example, let's just take the United States of America. He calls it, the empire of nothing. Right? So again, that's a pretty intense word to call, a government or, but besides the instant knee-jerk reaction to get offended, for me, what I gather is that, and what Jack Donovan is trying to explain is that we have pushed away from a tribal mindset. Whether it's, I could say, for example, my tribe is people that lift. That's my tribe. My tribe, for example, with Advocare, is a tribe of entrepreneurs, people that are looking to maximize health in as natural way as possible and not take medicines to the degree that may be promoted in the United States, whether it's to reduce blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera. I would say that my tribe is more a holistic tribe that's looking to find holistic answers, not necessarily promoted by Western medicine, right? Not to say that there's anything wrong with Western medicine. There's a lot of right, a lot of good. But my tribe, and that which I wish to make an impact in, are people that like entrepreneurial thinking, who like to lift weights, who are interested in things like nootropics, right? Who are interested in things of breaking through the social engineering, the matrix of the dating game, and how, this social engineering that is in very much way looking to demasculize, if that's a word, demasculize men. So my tribe starts forming itself, right? I was thinking about shaving my beard yesterday, and I just haven't seen my face in years. I haven't seen my face, just the skin, in years. And I thought about shaving yesterday. And the reason I kept my beard is I do love my beard. And on a tribal level, it does, for me, help me identify with people that are interested in showing masculine characteristics, right? Bigger muscle, increasing testosterone, showing traditional masculine characteristics. So my tribe, as you can start seeing, is these people that like masculine characteristics, that worship God, worship a Christian God. I listen to Joel Osteen. I was listening to Joel Osteen yesterday for a few hours before even getting out of bed. And I was listening to his message of favor and being a child of God, right? And I was letting his message speak to my spirit. I'm going through some challenging times right now on a family level. Luckily my knee is better. And I feel like the Lord is bringing me through the storm, right? And as I speak like this, let's just say if someone were to watch this video and they got this far, right, here at the 9-minute mark, by this point, if they're not part of my tribe, they would have already exited out. They're already triggered, right? Because I'm saying things that are clearly a polar opposite to what is currently the empire of nothing. Meaning I'm standing for something, and in the empire of nothing, it's looked at crazy to establish a belief in a God, establish that I like traditional masculinity, that I like the idea of masculine and feminine energies and ravaging a woman with sexual pleasure. Like, these things are seen as controversial in an empire of nothing. And yet, my tribe, the one that I'm a part of, the one that I'm a leader with, in other words, there's people like me, maybe you're watching this video, and you feel and you understand what I'm getting at. So we're of the same cloth. Let's go to that checklist again. I have a drum. I like music. Music connects me, awakens me. Let's just say some people think that music is not that important. Some people might think that music and the drum and the beat is not a very important part of living. It's just something that, they put on the radio. Well, that's not really my tribe, is it? Because to me, I bought this drum. I love this drum. I love what it means. I love the tribal connection to it. I love Jesus. I love meditation and connecting with God and spending time with my spirit. I love that. I love concepts of psychology taught in the Warrior's Way, or even Carl Jungian psychology, going into the dark aspects of our mind and owning all of our being, our childhood wounds. Talks by Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro. I don't mind and actually like some of the stuff that Trump is doing, and I think that he's one of our best presidents. And as you start to see, this is going to polarize some people, and yet through my voice of leadership and through my actions and my belief systems, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean that I'm against those that are against what I am at. It just means I'm looking to defend what I am. Make sense? I'm looking to defend what I am. And those that are part of the empire of nothing don't stand for a lot. In other words, the empire of nothing would like you to believe that, let's say a boy is born, he's at all the body parts of a boy. The empire of nothing would like you to believe that that is not yet proven. He's not necessarily a boy just yet. And the empire of nothing would have you believe that masculinity is some toxic idea, something to be gotten rid of, right? Going into Jack Donovan's book, he goes into how some of the main purposes of masculinity is to establish a us and a them. A us and a them. Now, let's just say you're not liking what I'm saying. Potentially, I don't know why you'd be watching 13 minutes into a video you don't like what someone is saying. I'll challenge you, if that was you. Consider that the military understands this very well. And you, if you are in the United States of America or any modern world, meaning, Europe, Germany, Russia, even North Korea, etc., anything that is modern, right? There is an establishment of boundaries and a military that protects those boundaries from them and us and them. And that protection and those boundaries are something that you benefit from. As I make this video, I, with very good confidence and faith, feel safe in my environment. I feel very safe in my environment. And that peace and that safety is created in large part by a military that protects our boundaries, right? That protects our boundaries. The attacks of 9/11, some people might say, was an inside job or Illuminati based, or the easy one is, extremists took down the Twin Towers in 9/11. And, all of those arguments are, I don't want to say fine, As much as we understand that there was an attack and that made people come together, people that consider themselves Americans, people that saw themselves as a group. There was a sense of unity, and you may not have been around then, you don't recall that feeling, but there was a feeling that came to the surface that we as Americans needed to unite together and establish an us and a them. You may not like that. You may understand it fully. I don't know. And through enough exposure, a person has to find their voice as to what they choose to lead with. You know, for example, there are people in this world that would like to think that I am their antithesis, meaning they're the opposite. They don't like a monotheistic belief in a God. They don't like people that are into meditation. They don't like people that are into traditional masculine roles of defense, of protection for the family, of unity for the family, of traditional ways of establishing genders, meaning you're born a man, you're born a woman, etc. So there are people that would hear my position and think I'm 100% the antithesis to that. They would just take what I stand for and what I look to develop and lead, and they're looking to establish the opposite. And you could say, I'm going to say in agreement with Jack Donovan that would be the empire of nothing. The empire of nothing is looking to establish primarily a capitalistic rule and not offend really anyone. And so political correctness has a type of agenda to make it so there is not a definitive non-inclusive, there is not a definitive non-inclusive tribe. And that's why I like Jack Donovan's books. Believe it or not, I think that the tone he takes is sometimes counter to, for example, Joel Osteen's tone. The tone is different. As a matter of fact, Yogananda, who's my spiritual teacher, talks about loving the world. And Jack Donovan, on the other hand, talks about not loving the world. Now, between these two paradoxical ideas, meaning they seem 100% counter to each other, between these two paradoxical ideas, that's where I could find my sanity. Meaning, yes, I love all human beings for the sake that they all have the potential and God within themselves. Now, let's just say there's a guy named Pete, and Pete thinks himself against my belief system. He doesn't want me to practice a monotheistic worship towards God. He doesn't want me to be a traditional masculine male. He doesn't want me to focus so much on developing masculinity and getting into supplementation and nootropics. Like, let's just say Pete is against all those things. If I'm into high performance, as let's just say Jordan Peterson talks about a hierarchy of competency, if I'm into that concept and Pete despises that concept, while I may love him as a person or as a soul, I'm totally okay with my position offending Pete. I'm totally okay with that. That's a leader, right? Because, hey, look, I'm not breaking any laws by having a different position than Pete and establishing and pushing ground into and expanding my agenda. Pete might really dislike that, but that's fine. Pete has his agenda and I have mine. His tribe may be one of the way of no tribe, right? The way of standing for nothing, just whatever feels good. That's cool, that's Pete. But that's not me, right? And so while I love him as a soul, as my teacher Yogananda talks about, and I love him as Joel Osteen may be proud that I do, and these are both leaders, I'm okay with leaning in the middle and going, yes, but I'm not going to let Pete and his ideologies take me out of my leadership and what I consider higher ideals. So that's some words on leadership. I'm out of time here. It's been 20 minutes now. I have some brown rice cooking to nourish my body. And I hope this has helped you out a little bit in understanding leadership and the idea of standing for something and developing that stance. And this video in many ways was designed to connect with people of a like mind. I've told you what I stand for, my values, meditation, traditional masculinity, the idea of the complementation of female energy, male energy, and things like this. If this bothers you, this is against you, I'm happy that it was able to establish a polarity for you. Because even if you disagree with me, at least you can see with clarity now that disagreement allowed you to establish a you and a me. You be good now. Subscribe. Love to hear your thoughts. Peace out.